Rex is just loud, bro. You can't stop him. He's just loud.
You're bombastic. I think the word is.
He's bombastic.
You're bombastic.
I thought that was just a song. I didn't know it was a.
I think the balance sounds pretty good. Personally, I think you all three of you sound like.
Thanks, man.
Do you know what bombastic means, Ree?
I don't even know.
The nicest J-mod.
It says high sounding but with little meaning.
There you go.
Pompous, a blustering
I was trying to
ranter.
use it more as an onomatopoeia, but because like it's like boom.
You just destroyed this man's career, Ice.
All
right. Are you guys ready? You guys ready for this?
Yes.
right.
On your screen right now, what we can see is sea shanty on YouTube.
I know. I want you to hear it.
Okay. Yeah.
Alrighty, boys.
So if you haven't heard it enough.
Yeah.
This is for my boy Ian. Alright, guys. Welcome to the OSRS podcast, where we talk about RuneScape-related things with RuneScape-related content creators. I am Mitmacow, one of your hosts, with the people down below.
What is going on, guys? Rexy here as always.
And a Rice Cup. So today we have a really, really special guest because he is one of the creators of most of the old school RuneScape music and some other sound effects as well that we're gonna figure out. You know, we're gonna discover. So we have Mon Ian here. So I guess the first J mod in the podcast, and hopefully one of many in the upcoming future.
Maybe hopefully the first of many then.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, you're the first
welcome.
one. Yeah.
Do you know what?
Morning, evening, and whatever to everybody.
I was just thinking when we were playing Sea Shanty there, I bet you're absolutely sick of hearing that song.
Oh no, I love it so much. You know,
Oh, that's good.
it's like, I could have it on drip feed for the rest of my life.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. It's beautiful.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's like, I mean, it's you know, it's a novelty song, right? I mean, it's you know, you shouldn't take it seriously. And like, I've played it till I come with people in my family, and they just give me a really weird look, and I don't think they really understand.
Do you do a little dance too? When
what it's about.
Yeah.
Now,
well,
Ian,
you're happy with it.
Do you think P. King put RuneScape on the map or Sea Shanty? Because I'm thinking Sea Shanty, obviously, put RuneScape on the map, man.
I'd like to you know, hope it had some, you know, part of it, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think it did. There's loads of, I see things on Facebook.
700,000 views on this video. Of course it did, dude. This was a brilliant video.
I see videos on Facebook all the time, which is just like a RuneScape theme tune playing out, and it'd be like, think of your childhood, you know? And they get so many likes from people that don't even play the game anymore. But yeah, I think that, I know for me personally, like when I first started playing RuneScape, I didn't know how to turn the music off. So I played with music on for like 6 months, and it drove me crazy. Like, you know, it's brilliant work, but there's so many times like you don't want to hear it all the time, every day, you know?
I'm like the opposite.
Well, yeah.
I'm the opposite because for a while, you know, I didn't have music, you know, like actual music, right? Artists.
The farmlands, dude.
No, I mean, like when I play RuneScape, you know, I just didn't have actual music. So whenever I play RuneScape, I just listen to RuneScape music. And like I like that stuff, honestly. Like I listened to that for like the first 2 years of gameplay, bro, or maybe
well,
3.
thank you very much.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure most of those songs are yours. Yeah, like especially
it's really
this song called
really
Waterfall.
nice when people like the music.
Yeah. Did you make that song too? Like Waterfall?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember it? Yeah, it's from the Waterfall quest, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
And I was responsible for all the kind of the older stuff because there was only me doing it.
Oh
for the
yeah,
first,
so you were basically the music creator.
How many years?
Yeah. Wait, so how long
the
have
only
you worked
audio
at
guy.
Jagex?
It's 17 years something.
I was just about to ask that. So when would that make it for RuneScape? When did you join? Like was it 2000?
2003. I think
Wow.
Oh my god.
Party hat time, baby. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
long time ago.
You're one of the oldest like J mods ever. Then.
I'm actually the first external employee.
Wow.
Wow.
Outside of the Gower brothers, I was the first kind of like, you know, person to be employed that wasn't a Gower, basically.
Oh wow.
So the next question that leads to like me thinking is, how many party hats do you have on your RuneScape free account? You must have a couple, surely.
I did have a white one.
Ooh.
I don't know. Do you know? I haven't even played my RS3 account for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, we all haven't.
Hey, Rakesy, you know what you just did, right? You've opened them up to hackers now. Oh, man.
No, yeah,
you better start changing that info before this comes out. They will get you.
I couldn't tell you what equipment. There was a time when I was playing Runescape quite a lot, and obviously it can be quite addictive. So I did kind of get into it, but then I just I had to stop because I just had sort of too much going on in my life, really.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Like that.
So, do we want to go on the Twitter thing right now? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. First, should we pander for likes? Because last video got 600 likes.
And
dude,
now we have
700.
700.
Yeah, it's a 750.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And now we have the first JMod ever to be born on. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Pretty.
We've upped our game. And also, do you know what I was saying about the likes helping the videos? Like, that video did significantly better than like all of our past ones. It got over 5,000 views, which compared to the others, that's fantastic. Thank you very much,
one
guys.
That came close. That was similar. Is just a friend and settle. But that's because those two were obviously had their traction.
So obviously, guys, 1,000 likes for Madian because he took his time out of his day to come out here. The creator of Sea Shanty, the god of music.
Yeah, it was really hard to set up the schedule because we've been trying to do this for like over a month, I think. Like
is it that long? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's just like
apologies, but it happens sometimes,
it's all
isn't it?
It's all about
it's mostly on our end.
Yeah, our scheduling is so bad.
Like we're a bit of a stuff podcast, so usually we're a little bit later getting into it, but it is what it is. You're here now, so we're all happy.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just glad we finally made it happen. Like
stuff.
You couldn't believe how excited Rice was to have you on the podcast. Oh my lord, this man is a huge fan. Do you guys want me to read out the wiki post? By the way, I can read this out.
The what post?
The wiki post we got on Twitter.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Yeah. It says, did you know that Jagex Ian made 616 music tracks in both games? 147 of those are exclusive to RuneScape, 25 are exclusive to Old School RuneScape, and 444 shared. This is almost half the music in RS. That's crazy. That is.
Wow. That is insane.
Yeah, but I'm an old man. So I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
You've been dropping flames.
Yeah, like I think not many people know that you make the music, and that's kind of disheartening, to be honest, because you have people like Mod Ash. He's like great guy, like a veteran mod, but they only know about people like Mod Ash for the most part. It's kind of like very low key that your presence, I guess, on social media.
Yeah.
Like
I'm not a big kind of like social media guy, and I suppose to be honest, as an audio team, we could probably get ourselves out there a bit more, and I think that's something we'd like to do.
Yeah, this is why
we've done the odd like a couple of times just recently. We've done a couple of stuff with the old school team of the Ashley and RS3 as well. Did a couple of live streams.
Oh, okay.
Just a couple of Twitch streams.
What were you guys doing? Making music?
You might. The content. It was a Land Out of Time, the dinosaurs, and also Song of the Owls.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. Because you hit on a really good note there, Ree. By the way, I just noticed that mine and Ree's cams are in the wrong positions, but it's fine. We can have a spot of difference in this podcast.
My
God. You scuffed the podcast already. Got that. But what I was like gonna add on to that is like Mod Ash is great and he's helped like code the game and like make it become what it is, right? But then at the same time, without like the theme tune and the music tracks to RuneScape, like if that didn't exist, I don't think the game would be how it is right now. It wouldn't
for sure.
at all, would it? So like you have directly contributed something huge to this game that people love.
Yeah, it's a very kind thing to say. Thanks very much.
I think it's not an
we try,
though,
we try, and we kind of try to put a little bit of heart and soul into it where we can.
Yeah,
I've never, what I said at the beginning, the reason why I didn't like listening to the music all the time is just because I didn't have a choice, right? But I have to be honest, like I've not heard a RuneScape song that hasn't been like a classic. Like they're all brilliant, they're all unique, they're all like they're great, they really are.
Which, you know, one of the things that, you know, the way that I approach music is to try and get songs that stick in people's heads.
Oh, you do
that
well.
was always one of my goals, you know, is to try and if you kind of, you know, listen to the music a couple of times and then you kind of walk away humming it or something like that, then it's job done as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
What was the first song you've ever made, if you remember?
Harmony.
Oh yeah, of course. That's a
legendary one.
Lumbridge, right?
Yeah.
It's Lumbridge track.
Yeah, that was the very first one. I can't remember. I mean, there was kind of so many at the time, but like the theme tune was obviously not that kind of far behind, really. The ones like sort of Autumn Voyage and Spirit and Waterfall. I mean, there was a whole kind of bunch of them that I just sort of did all at once.
That's quite interesting.
Salad,
I thought it would be Tutorial Islands, but unless that's Harmony as well, I don't think it is it?
No, it's kind of a mix from the Scape, which is the theme tune. It's supposed to be sort of various different versions of Scape main.
The theme tune.
That's the idea with a limited kind of like sound palette, because we didn't have thousands of instruments in those days.
Yeah.
So
what are those instruments? Is that like a keyboard or?
Yeah, I use a synthesizer. Yeah, I've always used kind of computer
based stuff. Or is that secret information?
No, I did have somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that stuff, like the thing that made it. Really interesting.
Let me just see if I can.
Because like I could tell. I mean, you know, now looking back, it's like a lot of the music isn't like instrumental. You know, like you can hear it's more like electronically created, right?
Yeah,
and that's really interesting because like I listen to a lot of electronic music now, and you can kind of tell that like oh yeah, it kind of like sounds like an instrument, but it's not organic. It's more like
a weird trumpet, you know? Burp.
Yeah.
Oh, the trumpet's quite kind of infamous because it's a little bit on the kind of wobbly side.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's probably my most hated instrument that we've used. Yeah, the old school trumpet.
Any trombones?
I was gonna say that the music definitely sets the mood, because I remember the first time I ever saw RuneScape. It was years and years ago, probably like 2003 or whatever. And I remember watching my brother running through the wilderness, and all I could hear was the music, music from the wilderness, and how like, you know, it sounds
ominous,
dark, and it's a dangerous place. And I remember watching my brother. He was trying to get some chaos runes at the hill giants or moss giants up deep wilderness. And I just remember how like intense and engaged he was on the computer, and he was like, I can lose everything in this place, and like the music was just going on in the background. Like it completely set the mood for it. Perfectly done.
It's so cool over the years, kind of reading people's comments, like just sort of random stuff that people have said about the music, like, oh, you know, I went into the underground pass, and then like this track really freaked me out, and all the rest of it, and you know, just kind of reading stuff that people say is just really good fun, really.
Yeah, no, I remember that because like every time I would do something in a specific spot, you know, where music plays, if I think of the song or I think of the place, I can remember the song a bit, or if I think of the song, I can remember the place, like, and the things I did. So it's just nostalgically, they all tie in really, really well. So
I can remember quite a few of them. I do get them wrong quite a lot of times, though. The trouble is, when you've written quite a lot of songs, you can't always really remember everything.
Yeah.
No, there's particular ones that really, really stick out in my mind.
Oh, that's a good question then. So
where's this tune playing? And
like that'd be a good question. So what's like some of your, I mean, not, you know, you don't have to rank it in any order, just like kind of 10-20 songs that you think.
10-20 songs, bro. Let's top five, right? Damn, bro.
Okay, yeah, you know, if you only have 5, do 5, right? But I'm saying like your most I guess influential songs or like impactful songs for you, I guess.
Impactful, what you mean that I've written, or you mean or songs that have influenced me?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty
God damn it, Rice.
You know?
Let's how about let's start with the songs that you've made.
Yeah, that you felt were really like.
Well, I don't think any of them are really brilliant. There you go. that's the spoken like a true muso. Doesn't like anything that they do.
Oh my god, you don't think any of these songs are brilliant? Come on, bro.
Or the ones that you were most proud of, I guess.
I like the kind of I like the kind of quirky, jolly stuff. I must admit, I quite like some of the Keldegrim stuff, and usually the kind of sillier the better for me. But it was harder to kind of get that darker sort of emotion. With like the old school sound set, whereas it's a lot easier to kind of make it sound bright and jolly, really.
Yeah, I remember Kilogram sounds for sure. There were,
that kind of like, bouncy kind of like songs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the very early ones, like you said, Waterfall, Spirit, Autumn Voyage.
Like Waterfall. I was really.
I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, and every now and then I kind of like dip into because I just sort of check out like odd tracks now and again and kind of remind myself what I've written. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that I wrote that one. That's quite a good one.
I've got two questions leading on from that. So, what was the inspiration for the wilderness, for the darkness in that case? And secondly, when you do listen back to your old music, do you get inspiration from stuff you've already done?
Well, the first one, really, it's all about the kind of sounds that you can use and trying to make it fit the environment, right? The sound set used in OS is what you call a general MIDI sound set, and it's the kind of standard sound set that you get with most cards on computers.
Okay.
So it was kind of hard to, as I said, get things to sound sort of like darker and scary and stuff. Obviously, you can use little melodies and motifs and stuff like that, and use kind of bits of volume to try and sell the idea of fear. But also, I used to take some of the instruments and kind of deliberately use them low in pitch or high in pitch and made them sound a little bit kind of off.
It sounds like something like is coming for you, right?
Something's looming in the background.
Like Jaws, but pixel version.
Yeah.
It's like I did that kind of stuff with some of the Dwarven music to try and get the idea of kind of pickaxes and sounds and stuff like that. I'd use kind of percussion and slightly odd places and stuff. But yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, you take inspiration from music, everywhere, and I've been influenced by an awful lot of music over the years, and I try very carefully not to kind of copy other people's techniques, but you're going to get influenced by them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never heard a music track that sounded like a RuneScape music track, but before you answer that second question that I asked, what I was going to say is when it came to making, like, I keep going back to the wilderness because for me that's like the biggest part of my nostalgia with RuneScape. Did you understand like what the wilderness was? Like, did you go into it knowing that you could get attacked by anybody and like the whole scenario around that?
Not so much.
Was it just the environment?
It's really the environment. I mean, basically, because I was on my own, and Andrew basically said, write some music. I basically kind of like I and it was kind of all there wasn't kind of like such a firm strategy of exactly which bit I'd do at which time and stuff. So a month or something, just wrote loads of kind of pieces of music, walking around the game, reading stuff about the game, just walking around and kind of like getting killed by stuff and whatever, and looking at the kind of like the visuals and trying to kind of get a feel for that for Gillinor basically.
Wow. That's brilliant. That's insane. Like, gee, like how you did the wilderness theme track without knowing what was really going to happen there. And like for how perfect it is as well. That is actually nuts.
Imagine going out in the wild and not hearing that looming presence, right? It just wouldn't feel like the wilderness.
Well,
it's got like that.
To be brutally honest, I think in some respects, if I would do it, and if I could do it all over again, I'd probably change some of the wilderness stuff.
You can do it all over again. You're still alive. Let's hear this shit, man.
Of course,
Remix.
I mean, it's a living game, right?
Music.
Come on, baby. I'll be down. I want to hear that.
Whether my kind of like angle on it, my way of doing it was kind of right or not, I don't know. I think it's open to interpretation a little bit from whoever plays the game, right? And obviously, nostalgia is a very kind of powerful thing, and your memories at the time they stick with you, and I could stick any bit of music in there, and you'd be happy with it, but
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think
some
for
tunes, yeah, sure, I'd change.
For the times though, it definitely kind of just built the world of of RuneScape for sure, because I just couldn't even think about playing RuneScape when I was younger without the music, because like they just are so intertwined. Because like every time I go somewhere, I expect to hear something, right? That's what it was.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and it's just kind of like molded into what it is. It is what it is. That's probably the best way to put it.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
So like, obviously you had a background music right before you got hired. I guess out of curiosity, I guess what were some of your credentials before? Like your prior experiences and stuff like that.
Actually, I mean, I'm not kind of I'm self-taught.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, I love that. That's
I had a feeling. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I had a feeling. Yeah.
But I mean, I have been playing kind of like, I mean, I started off when I was, I don't know, 13 or something, maybe.
Wow.
And I was, and I had like electronic organ. I always wanted a sort of synthesizer so I could make sort of silly sound effects and stuff. And I got a synthesizer when I was, I think, about 15. Combined birthday, Christmas, present savings and stuff like that. And that was my first kind of real synthesizer, which for the kind of geeks was a Roland JX3P. Not that you probably know that, but and then it kind of like, it's always just been a big kind of part of my life, and gaming. I've had all the kind of consoles and home computers from back in the day, from a Sinclair Spectrum and everything else. And I did try and kind of make my own games and stuff like that. They were super basic. I'm not a game developer in that respect, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been surrounded by sort of like music and stuff like that.
How did you get the job working for RuneScape then? Did you just know the right people, or they hear some of your work beforehand?
Well, no, basically I applied for a job from seeing an advert in the local newspaper.
Holy
wow. And the dream comes
true.
And
the position and it was a brand new company, and the position was for customer support.
What the hell?
These
which I'd done plenty of, but for the, I suppose, about something before that interview, I was basically spending all my time kind of working on computer-based pinball games and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm kind of into kind of like arcade games, pinball games and stuff. So I made a couple of my own sort of pinball games with an editor, and also sort of copied a couple of, kind of real ones, sort of recreated them.
Yeah.
I brought this kind of stuff with me and showed it to Andrew. Interview, and I basically sort of said what I'd really like to do is audio, and so he was obviously was quite into pinball himself, so he quite liked the games, and I really did them to kind of like demonstrate my abilities to kind of write music, integrate, make sound effects, and integrate it into software.
Yeah, I find
that's really ironic, man. Customer support. So they basically, it was just kind of like a catch-all term, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, everyone used to, everyone in Jagex at the time used to, have multiple kind of roles. It was I started off in customer support, but I mean, you had to do everything. I mean, I ended up writing 3 quests.
Wow.
Which quest?
They're not the best quests in the game. To be
Cook's assistant? Yeah.
no, worse than that.
You have to tell us.
Worse than that.
It's the dig site and the watchtower.
Oh, you made dig site?
God,
oh.
Those 2 quests are hecka long, man.
The suffering, man.
I built the ranging guild, and like worked on kind of like just all sorts of stuff. We just used to have to do everything.
Oh wow, okay.
I want that job.
Team, right?
That sounds fun.
I mean, we had to build our own maps, and when I was working on the quests and stuff, you were expected to kind of like build the environments as well.
Yeah,
you didn't have an artist for that job. You do now. We have dedicated people on all our products for that kind of stuff.
Audience, you know to blame for dig site now, so you're welcome.
The creator of Watchtower.
But that's what happens in a small startup company. You need to be versatile, don't you?
I suppose.
That's brilliant.
That's so good. Hand in.
I'll just trust.
I was given a fantastic chance by Andrew, to kind of You know, he was like, okay, you know, I've done my whatever it was, like couple of years with customer support and development, and he was like, music for me now, and I was like, yep. So I did that 50% of the time, and I was spending half my time kind of writing tunes and whatever else needed to be done, basically.
So that was before RuneScape 2, right?
More and more.
So like as soon as RuneScape 2 came out, that's when you basically got the music position or something, or so.
Well, yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, well, it was members had not been out that long, you know.
Yeah, because
you know, watching the first kind of demonstrations of classic, yeah.
So you made music. You didn't make any music for classic then, right? Like before.
It was Was it classic? No, it was because that's when they kind of because you used to have a few sort of sound effects as well in classic, but that was the only audio I think that classic had, and so it was basically what's going to RuneScape 2.
Okay.
I actually find like the whole backstory to this like very inspiring, to be honest.
It could be a documentary, like, you know.
Yeah, like you love music by the sounds of it, so that was a passion of yours. You were also interested in video games at the time, and back in those days, I would say, not so many people were into video games. Would you agree with that? It wasn't as popular as what it is nowadays, for sure. But like,
people barely knew what video games were.
Certainly not as popular, but I mean, you know, at school and stuff like that, we all played the games. You know, we had BBC microcomputers, and we all used to play each other's games on that and lend each other games and all the rest of it. And but our parents could afford to buy us computers or whatever. Yeah. This was before kind of consoles, really.
I mean, I find the whole thing like truly inspiring. The fact that it was a passion of yours, and you went down a route where you got your foot in the door at the company, and then you just ended up doing the thing that you were passionate about, and lo and behold, it's like you've produced something that millions of people, they know what it is and they can touch on it, and it's like as soon as they hear it, they instantly get a nostalgia ride, and it's like, I remember doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's quite humbling, really. It's quite an honor to be able to do this kind of stuff, really. And I'll be forever grateful for being given the chance to, have a go and do this.
Well, you did a good job.
Yeah, I'd say
and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's also Rakesy, you were speaking of people who influenced him, but he was actually an influencer to a lot of people. And do you know who OSRS Beats is?
The YouTube channel.
It's a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Who remixes your work.
Seen a bunch of his videos.
Have you? Okay, I was going to show you a couple of his, because he has made...
You know the trap genre.
Oh, should we listen to Remix the Sea Shanty just for a bit?
Oh, which one's really good is the...
1 million views.
Wait, which is his Inferno one before?
Dude, the Zora one that he has, like I've used it in my own videos. It's fantastic. It's really
we listened to the Zora remix.
Stuff. Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to pop up with a song. Oh, it did.
Yeah,
Coil.
that's all. But
I've used Coil before.
Yeah,
so
that's insane.
He just takes your music and makes it not better, but more mainstream, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, the game was always kind of traditionally a sort of medieval fantasy kind of game, and then it sort of grew out of that a little bit and became kind of a little bit of everything, I suppose.
Did you ever think someone would trap remix your songs that you made back in the day?
Well, certainly not when I was writing the original songs, no. And then, but it kind of gathered momentum as the game grew, and we got, more people playing the game and more people interested. Then, I remember the first kind of remixes coming out and watching people kind of, painstakingly learn some of the parts on their guitars and stuff like that. Amazing to watch.
Oh my lord, yeah. So there's a guy who does the RuneScape rock cover as well of the intro song. If you guys have heard that, the metal cover.
I've heard of it. I've heard of
various different versions.
It's the one that I think Chris Archie played or something a long time ago.
Should we? This one's sick as well. Let me see if I can find it. RuneScape metal cover.
It's gotta be like the biggest one.
Yeah, right here. I mean, look at this. Look at this.
Dude, he went all in, man. Production's on point.
Like, your music has inspired so much.
I mean, that's so cool. If if one person likes what I've done, then it's all worthwhile, right?
Oh, but, more than one though.
If I've somehow influenced people to kind of follow their passion, then well, well, I don't.
Does this look like passion?
I mean, it is a passion of mine, but it's like.
It's sick, dude.
Say, hey, I'm an amazing musician.
You're insanely humble, and I respect that. That's for sure. Because, a lot of people. I mean, I feel like it's deserved though that you do get the recognition if you wanted it. Because, I mean, why? You know what I mean? It's your choice, of course, ultimately. But I
mean, what kind of keeps us, myself and others in the music team, audio team going is reading people's comments and kind of meeting people at Runefest and even talking to people like yourself and stuff.
Yeah,
it's all worthwhile at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it kind of it helps that give things a purpose and a reason for what why you bother.
Yeah, I do we were talking about sound effects and you've said that you've created a few. I think my question for you is:
were you tens of thousands?
Were you the person that created the Kriara screech when it melees?
Oh no!
I might have to. I can't. Do you know? I can't.
Were you in a bad mood that day?
Were you just screaming at the mic?
I actually, if that is God, I might not have done that one. Actually, thinking about it. One that I definitely didn't do was Rice Barrage.
Oh, the Ice Barrage is so.
Yeah.
Oh man!
But I've made other very, very annoying sound effects, plenty of them, because all the sound effects in old school, even today, are just made with one bit of software synthesizer.
Could you list the top 5 ones that you've made that are most notable?
Probably. Well, the teleport sound effect is a very recognizable one.
Oh, yeah. I was going to see teleport.
Oh, that's yours? Easy.
Yeah, I mean all the original stuff. I mean all the original stuff for all the sort of skills. I mean the ones I liked the best were probably the kind of like the armor sounds and whatever, because
the ding.
Yeah, all that. I mean I did everything, all the magic sounds and stuff like that.
Oh, that's so good. That's so
the magic
nice.
ones I kind of like, and some of them I kind of hate.
Yeah.
It's a weird working with a synthesizer and nothing else to just kind of make sound effects. It's when I was basically Andrew one day went, I've made a synthesizer for you like yesterday, so here it is, make some sound effects. It was like, maybe you can make some magic sounds with it, but I realized after tinkering around with it that you could do all kinds of things with it, and then I basically just started churning out like thousands of sounds with it.
You had an epiphany. You're like, whoa.
Apparently all you need is a synthesizer and you got a good game. So
well, I mean,
that's what's up.
With synthesizers, I may not be kind of like academically qualified in synthesis, but I've certainly read an awful lot about everything to do with.
You certainly have decades.
I've used quite a lot of equipment and stuff, and I own a bunch of synthesizers and stuff like that. So, you obviously your knowledge grows with you over the years.
Yeah,
I mean,
read
up on stuff and practice.
At this point, you're probably more qualified than most people that come out of music school. For this stuff.
Education doesn't mean much compared to experience. Yeah.
I suppose, I would have liked to have had some education on it. I suppose anything like that. I mean, education's a great thing, right? In general, I mean, it's a bit. I mean, there wasn't really so much in the way of, let's say, kind of games courses or anything like that. And I nearly did a professional qualification in sound engineering, but I couldn't afford to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oftentimes money.
It cost me too much money, so.
Yeah.
Something I'd like to touch on that you just said that's made a thought process in my brain. You just said that you liked some of the stuff you've created and you disliked some of it. So I'm wondering, do you have the creative freedom, like other JMods do, to go back to their prior content and change it? Because, like, say Mod Ash were to code a certain area and he didn't like something in that area, I'm sure he's able to go back and change it as he wants. But, like, with your music, and like you said, it ties into nostalgia for a lot of people. If there's something that you truly dislike, do you have the freedom to go back and change it, or does it just have to stay as it is?
I think
freedom to do anything we want. That's one of the great things about an online game like ours, is that we it's a living game. It can kind of like evolve over a period of time.
Yeah.
But, and there's a big but, who works to stuff, we just sometimes get shot down in flames by our players because they don't really want us to change it.
Yeah, well, I think
I've always had to walk this fine line, you know, between like trying to improve things, you know, add stuff and whatever, and you know, things that I might have not liked in the past. I might think, actually, I'll just go and revisit that, and then and then I go and touch the thing, and then I'm gonna, you know, and then I'm gonna get moaned at for the next fortnight until it gets changed back or something.
That's the community for you, right?
Yeah, one thing
very careful with changing stuff.
Yeah. One thing I will say though is that when it comes to music, I don't think we've ever really had like you know, a drama. Yeah, with music, because we usually think about it this way, that stuff never gets pulled in the first place. You know,
it never disappoints. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah, like have you ever seen a poll where should we introduce this music? I don't think it's like, you know, it's not in people's minds to like really be argumentative about that stuff.
Yeah.
Thankfully, music doesn't generally tend to like ruin people's gaming sessions or you know, alter the amount of XP or money or whatever they get out of it. You know, it's something to accompany the content.
Speaking of non-music related things, you were talking about altering XP. How do you feel about people that just grind out XP in your game? Like, that's how they have fun. Every day they wake up and they just get as much XP as they can.
I think they're wonderful people.
They're wonderful people. They're great. Yeah, same. They're beautiful.
To be honest with you, people can play the game how they want. Who am I to kind of judge, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we've got volume controls in the game for a reason. It's because, you know, I completely realize that not everyone's going to want to listen to, you know, the game soundtrack.
Yeah.
People might want to listen to something else. For instance, they might want to perhaps, like, you know, a new quest or something, a new area that's been released, and maybe they'll listen to the music for that and then turn it off again, or perhaps, you know, put sound effects on for maybe, you know, if they're, you know, thing, and then they'll turn them off again. But that's fine. You know, at the end of the day, like, you know, RuneScape is the kind of game that you should be able to play kind of how you want to play it. It's not path through the game.
Yeah, exactly.
No, definitely.
You know what I mean? We don't want to kind of like handhold everyone all the way through it, sort of spoon feed people.
Yeah.
That's what RuneScape.
I could go on
someone wants to grind out stuff, you know.
We gotta stop Rice's tangents.
Do you guys have like, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this stuff, but do you have data on how many players who play the game actually listen to the music on a daily basis, or is that something that you don't have data on?
And we always have data on it. It's the kind of thing that we can potentially make requests, and we have had sort of some data in the past when we've been monitoring certain things, but it's not something that's kind of like, you know, always turned on and being monitored.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. You know.
So you've made other music than RuneScape, right? Or has it just been your sole purpose to bust out RS tracks?
Most of the stuff that I do is basically is all done for Jagex. I mean, I've you know, because I've been kind of playing around, I've kind of jammed in bands before, but they've never really got anywhere.
Do you have a side album that we could buy or something? You
no,
know,
although I am kind of working on something, but this is over the last kind of year or so. I've been building up a kind of a sort of a synthesizer system. What's called a Eurorack modular system. So I'm hoping that I'm going to kind of like do a kind of like an electronica kind of album, but I'm still sort of just playing with the stuff.
That's
any thing that I've got a job doing this, because I'm kind of undisciplined. When I'm at home, with my keyboards and stuff, I'll just kind of play for hours, but I won't really record it always. I'll just sort of it. So I suppose my sort of saving grace is kind of working here means that I've actually sort of finished all this stuff, and it's available for people to listen to.
Are we going to expect some vocals from
Good luck finding it.
Future tracks there? Some sweet vocals?
Some of my vocals are in a couple of the tracks in RS3.
That's what I'm... Oh, really? What? Oh, I don't play RuneScape for you, so...
Yeah, we've got a few... there's not that many, like...
Yeah, voice...
About 12, 15 or something like that. Kind of, you know, RS3 tracks that have got vocals in them. And it's not... I've got the lead vocal.
It's usually like a little... It's not like lyrical, though. You know, it's like... voice. It's like sound created from the voice.
It's sung words.
Some more words, really? Yeah, I never listened to it.
It's complete songs. There's actually complete songs that are written with stories in them. and stuff like that as well. The Ark had a whole bunch of songs with.
Okay, yeah. I think they started doing it after I wasn't playing. Like, I guess.
But yeah, what do you think? Do you think we should have some singing in?
I'd be down as long as it's like this. You have a part in this right here.
Yeah. That's my fault.
I don't think singing in old school songs would go down that well.
No, I think it'd be weird.
I think someone suggested it to me once, and I just said, "You must be joking." I'm not.
I don't think.
If you could just add vocals,
I'm not allowed. I would never allow that.
It needs to happen. Right click on the music track and just add vocals, and it just adds vocals to every song, and you just got mod.
To be honest, it depends on who it is. Imagine if you could get like a massive musical celebrity. Who like played old school RuneScape.
We have one. Look at him, dude. This is all I need, man.
Come
on, bro. This guy got vocals.
Imagine if, like, I don't know, Ed Sheeran one day just went to Jagex and was like, "I've been playing your game since I was a little kid. Can I please be in one of your music tracks?" It would probably bring in like his fans into the game.
I should imagine. Whatever decision I make on that kind of stuff, I should imagine I'll be completely overruled by other people that would want to do what they want to do. You know. And yeah, if something like Ed Sheeran rolled up, personally, I don't know if I really want Ed Sheeran to sing on any of my songs, but maybe most of the company would.
Like a remix, though, like a remix.
I love Ed, but I think I'd rather have.
Dislike the guy at all. I think he's done a great job.
You can't argue over that, dude. I'm sorry. Ed's all right, but that's another thing right there, man. You can't.
So a Christmas hit on.
Oops.
Right. Get Mod Mark into
the sound booth, and he's got a nice voice for RuneScape. To be honest, some of the elf songs, spice it up a bit with some Mod Mark love. That'd be something to think about. Or some wilderness.
He's a well-known guy.
Can you imagine you're in the wild and you just start hearing Mod Mark start singing? Oh. That'd be great.
Oh God, yeah, man.
that would get you out of the wilderness pretty quickly, right?
It would. Do you know what? So we haven't even asked you. Are you a RuneScape free player, old school player, and like which one do you play most actively, if either?
I don't really play like either game that much. I mean, it's the RS3 was the one that I was playing quite a bit, and I do dip into it now and again, but. Kind of too busy here at work to be playing or anything like that. So, outside of work, then that's kind of like everything else I do, basically. If I played RS like 3 or old school, that means my entire life working or playing with RuneScape. So that I can't do both. I can't do both at the same time.
Would you say that a lot of J mods at Jagex are kind of in a similar boat, where obviously they're working on the game all day long, like they don't really want to go home and play the game they've been working on? So do they play like other games, like League of Legends, for example?
Well, we all play loads of different games. I mean, like everyone's always talking about games, and we've got consoles here in the office and stuff like that. But I mean, there is of course some rivalry with the content developers and. Developer. I think it's pretty important that you play, quite regularly.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
You need to keep that thing, and it's not that I don't know kind of what goes on in the game, because obviously because I work on so much of it, I get exposed to pretty much every update.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
No,
I kind of know what's going on.
Rakesy, man, can you not mention League of Legends when I'm drinking coffee? It just took me by storm, bro.
It's just like, I see, for example, he's not a mod now, but Ieza posted on Twitter yesterday about playing League of Legends Team Tactics, and there were a few other J mods that were like commenting on it, and it seems like quite a few of them play it. It's just chess for League of Legends.
There's some very, very serious gamers in Jagex,
yeah.
I'd hope so. That's awesome. No PKers though, huh?
That's not true.
No, we can't. That's you can't go around killing all the people that are trying to play your game, right?
Yeah, that's might hate your community.
That would just be mean. I mean, that would just be like an abuse of power or something. I mean,
dude, no one told Mod Jed. Yeah. Sorry.
Well,
Now, speaking of J
that kind of thing, though, it gets dealt with.
That's good. It got dealt with though. That was All right, let's okay. So speaking of J mods, do you have any best friends that you would best buddies at where you work with? Anyone we know?
The boys.
The boys.
Oh yeah, well I mean there's a couple of people have sort of left now, but yeah, there's still a few people that that have been here for kind of a long time. Mod Mark being one of them.
That beautiful person.
Mod Joe, who's like sort of he does production, but he's also artist. And then there's his mod name is now, but there's Mr. Brown, who's another like lead artist. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of people. I get on with quite a few people.
And I heard
sometimes difficult because the company has grown obviously quite a lot, and there's there's a fair few people come in and out and stuff, and it's not always easy to know everyone in the company. I try my best to kind of know a whole bunch of people and stuff like that. But yeah, there's all sorts of people that I kind of hang around with and talk to, people in the video team and the art team, and that. I mean, all sorts of stuff.
I heard there's a bar at the HQ. Is that true? The Jagex bar? Or
yeah.
You guys go there? I mean, that just sounds playing RuneScape, making music, and then going out for a drink in your own company. I mean, can I sign up for that? That sounds amazing. Oh my god!
That's why like Jagex bothers with doing things like that. Is because you kind of need a bit of the whole package, right? I mean, we're a games company. We're not.
It's got to be fun, right?
No disrespect to banks or whatever. We're not a bank or we're a games company. We should be about a bit of fun, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So Ian, when
social
you first,
side of things is
when you first joined Jagex, yourself included, how many employees were there working at Jagex at the time? Because obviously you started in 2003, so this was like way back in the day, and I'm sure it was quite small at the time.
There was 3 of us.
3. Wait,
no. There was Andrew and Paul, but
come on, Rixie, come on.
Ian, the younger brother, was at uni.
Oh, at the time. That's absolutely insane. When you said that you were
one of the 10 oldest JMods, that's still.
My interview was basically just kind of like a laptop in a bare room.
In the library.
That's all there was. That was what Jagex was at the time. So and then it grew and grew and grew.
I'm gonna guess this was at the point where Jagex had moved out of their mother's basement. It wasn't in their house, I'm assuming.
It was when it was there's like over the road from kind of where we are now, there's like a place where a lot of startup companies go.
Wow.
Holy crap.
It was,
that's awesome.
The ground floor.
And,
the subject to a legendary documentary.
So
there was Andrew and Constant basically kind of formed the company, and that was its first base of operations, and then it kind of moved around in that place, but we haven't really moved that far.
That's brilliant. So what is the process behind when you create yourself a new track for the game? I mean, is it just like one person you run it by, or
panic?
Kind of like run around and sort of like cry a little bit and sort of think, oh, what am I going to do? I've written 600 songs. How on earth am I going to write something else that's brand new now? Yeah.
But I'm saying, do you have to run it by like multiple people, or because I know that in Jagex, because I've been to the office, there's the massive I don't know how to explain it. It's like a big cinema sort of screening area right in the center. Like, is everybody in there listening to it, or do you just run it by a couple of people?
No, it's it's kind of like the final say is, would be my boss, but I mean he's pretty kind of trusting. We've kind of I've been doing it quite a while now, so I hopefully kind of know what I'm doing with a lot of stuff. But we do sort of critique each other's work, and we also kind of talk to and discuss stuff with the content developers, so they have an input.
Okay.
On the kind of stuff that we do as well. They give us influence. Things to listen to influence us and inspire us and all the rest of it.
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a bit of both kind of thing, really.
When there's like a new piece of content coming out, like you just said, they try to inspire you. Do they give you an example? So recently there's been the Elven expansion in Old School. Like, did they say to you it might be worth going and watching like a really old film, or maybe even like Lord of the Rings, for example, and taking note of like the music that's playing in the Elven cities?
Actually, not with that one, no, because I suppose I sort of did all the original sort of elf music and stuff like that. I went into overdrive and basically just sort of got this big music sessions together, and I think I wrote kind of like 6 tracks, kind of all like back to back in this huge kind of one song session. So that was like a good day, week, whatever, a couple of weeks, whatever it was. Kind of flowed nicely. Sometimes it's hard work. Sometimes it takes a real kind of like kick up the backside for me to kind of like, get it going. But sometimes it just sort of, it just clicks.
Yeah. It just flows naturally.
I rage quit the quest, the new elf quest. I've rage quit it because of that maze. So Rice is the only one I believe who's done it here from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So when you were doing the quest, how did you like that music, Rice? The new elf music. I haven't listened to it yet.
That was nice.
That's not one of my tracks though. That one, that's Mod Surma's that one, and that's a good.
It was like nice and tranquil, and it kind of matched the colors. Like the music matched the colors. It's weird to describe it.
Were you high?
No, it's like a it's a really expanse, like it's a big hallway type of
I can hear the colors. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's like, and it just matches it, like, because it's all light blue for the most part. It's very light blue, and like the music kind of just accentuated the fact that it's like a big library.
Yeah, I think the most recent soundtrack that's came out, which really I thought was fantastic, was the Theater of Blood. Did you have anything to do with that, Ian?
Yeah, lots.
It's just like, yeah, of course. Come on, come on.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was myself and Mod Surma again.
When you saw the biggest boss you've ever seen, the thick lady at the end, did that inspire you to make some thick music? Because she is huge, dude.
That's the reason why I put that kind of like singing, operatic singing.
Hey!
That was a brand new sound. That's the reason why it's.
I've never completed that area, but I've seen people do it, and that music comes on like this is popping.
There's the big inspiration for that one was the Fifth Element.
The Fifth Element. Oh, I've seen that. 1 second.
The movie.
Yeah, does it have
Jackie Chan
the opera singer in the Fifth Element was a big kind of influence on that one.
Oh, that's so cool.
It really brings up the atmosphere when you're trying to dodge those webs.
If you haven't heard that kind of like bit of the opera singing on the Fifth Element, either go and watch the film or watch that clip because it's really cool.
I could tell. I was like theater opera.
The Verzik soundtrack is just like, it's so good. Like I will listen to it every single time. I don't know what it is about it. It's probably because it does sound like that, and it sounds like there is singing in there. Sort of.
Well, there's a girl.
It's kind of like ah.
Yeah, and she'll do her thing. I like I don't know what they call it.
The weird thing. Screech. Yeah, the opera thing.
Like that thing, It's so cool though because it matches the vibe.
So that leads me on to an interesting question. You said that
put them arms down, boy.
No, I know, dude. I just saw it, man. It's awful, isn't it? But like you said at the beginning, like you looked at the environment and how it looked exactly. So when it came to the Theater of Blood, I'm assuming that you were able just to have like, the free reign of it, and you were just able to like teleport into the final boss room and just get a feel for it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it starts with concept art as well, right?
Yeah, that's true.
In the same way that you're using these kind of graphical concepts to, to inspire the content developers and the environment artists and all that kind of stuff. It's similar with audio as well. So we get to kind of start around then. Whatever kind of influences you can get basically from sort of going in, checking out like what these things are looking like as they're being built and they're being animated. And stuff like that, it all feeds into basically giving you something to kind of work with.
That's incredible. Like the amount of creativity, like I can't even fathom just looking at Verzik's room and being like, this is how it should sound. But like the way that you put it together, like it fits so well. It flows.
Yeah, it's immersive. I mean, I used that song. I've listened to it several times.
I really enjoy doing that.
Yeah, because I listen to it in like high quality because I'd be editing with it, so I have to like look for like the best parts to like squeeze it into like the right clip, and it's like, oh, this is easy. Like put the whole thing in there. Almost usually, like a lot of times it'll be like I'll just put most of the chunk in. It's like it's like
So
well, I mean, if it helps your gaming experience, I mean, I'm not saying that listening to music is gonna
Yeah.
Oh, definitely does. I mean, music's been even tested to help boost.
Yeah, I mean, I've always learned to appreciate the game music because, like, I'll be honest, you know, nowadays we most people have their own like, you know, music that they listen to, right?
Some Nickelback, you know.
Yeah, mainstream or not, whatever. But like, so for many years, I just been listening to my own music, you know, from outside the game, obviously. But like, you know, now I create videos and stuff. I kind of realized that it's kind of really cool to bring back some of that game music. Because like a lot of people don't, I think increasingly every year, less people listen to the game music and sounds in general. But I feel like we could easily bring that back as content creators, you know, to bring some.
I hope so.
In the video.
I mean, mind you though, there are things like the like, you know, video game concerts and stuff like that now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never used to see. You know,
what is that? I have never heard of that before. A video game concert.
Well, like they sometimes they do that.
Oh, did you not go to? You didn't go to Runefest last year then?
Cons. I mean, like.
Oh no, I did. Sorry, I did go to Runefest last year, but I was very high on morphine, so it was just a bit of a blur.
It's his recreational. It's
yeah, I think that's definitely popular.
Symphony and there's various other kind of VGL video games live and stuff. Yeah,
are you talking about Fortnite where they had what was it, Kanye or somebody on Fortnite and they did a concert or I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
That was kind of amazing. The amount of people that like tuned into that.
That was huge.
You know, games are popular.
It's definitely something that's gonna get bigger and popular because, like, you know, gaming's just kind of.
Ain't no one want to go outside. Let's be real. That's it.
Do you know what I find amazing? And like I think, considering the work that you've done for RuneScape, like, were you ever approached and like almost poached by other gaming companies that were like, hey, we need someone who's talented to like set a theme? Because I think of all of these games which are like medieval games.
Can you imagine World of Warcraft with some RuneScape music?
Yeah, like Guild Wars, World of Warcraft. Like, were there ever any gaming companies that tried to poach you and tempt you away from RuneScape?
No, not that I know of. I mean, I suppose it's because everyone's kind of doing their own recruiting and stuff. I mean, that does that does happen in the industry. Of course, it does.
At times, though, you keep yourself very low profile. I'll give you that, man.
I think his manager was on top of him and just making sure those emails got deleted. Like, Blizzard, no thank you.
Because like
well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't kind of like, you know, go out of my way to be, you know, like invisible or anything like that. I suppose I just don't really do an awful lot of sort of social media stuff. I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Because like I know you have a Twitter, right?
You know. Yeah, I mean, I you know, I kind of, you know.
But I don't see you do much on it, so.
And whatever. No, I don't really do an awful lot on it, but I'll kind of happy to kind of answer questions and stuff like that when people. I you know, I use it to accompany my job. It's just as far as I'm concerned, that's I generally, you know, I mean,
like, you know, how
because I'm kind of a bit old school myself, you know, I'm used to going around and visiting friends and stuff like that, and you know, just sort of, you know, doing other stuff as well as.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
I mean, I much prefer single player games as well. I'm not a big online game.
Speaking of games, you played a lot back in the day, right? So, do you have a favorite gaming music that you used to listen to?
Game series and favorite music from it as well, and that's Monkey Island.
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island. I've never even heard
of
it.
Too old for me, I think.
Guys are so young. You never.
I got Donkey Kong. That's all I got, man.
Like, if you tell me Donkey Kong,
Monkey Island.
You're being serious. You've never come across Monkey Island before. It's so sad.
I've typed Monkey Island.
This is when LucasArts were making games.
Are you guys ready to get inspired?
Google is a luxury hotel called Monkey Island. So let me put the game.
Is it the Curse of Monkey Island or the Secret of Monkey Island?
I can tell you that, like, it's a point-and-click adventure, right? And it was also one of the things that inspired and influenced RuneScape.
Oh my god!
What? Wait, which one is it?
Andrew, like, even sort of said in the documentary, it was games like Monkey Island and stuff that he played as a kid.
1990. I wasn't born. I wasn't even born.
You guys ready to be inspired?
Yeah, off you go.
No wonder I didn't know.
This could be some wilderness music right here.
You're gonna make sure it's the right version. No? That's the
Secret of Monkey Island. We don't know. We're just kind of guessing here.
This is old school, man. Wind it on a bit. No, this is just the theme track tune, dude. I want to see some gameplay.
Yeah,
whoa! You want to see gameplay?
Yeah, I mean, like, I want to see what inspired RuneScape.
This is totally RuneScape music. This is sick.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds like RuneScape music.
Bro.
It does a little bit. What, dude? Find some gameplay of it. I want to see what inspired RuneScape. But
all right, fine.
Well, I mean, I can't say that Monkey Island was the sole inspiration for RuneScape.
Yeah, that was one of.
It's probably one of many, right?
You can't take it back.
But,
no, that's so cool.
You heard it here first, yeah.
What the hell?
Music, you know, the music is like kind of like
amazing game. I mean, for its time, it was absolutely.
For 1990, it kind of looks like Aladdin in a way.
Yeah, I was thinking
that's
that.
So cool.
Ian, do you have a specific favorite genre of music? Considering that you
no, not at all.
So you like a wide variety.
I mean, I suppose I listen to more probably electronic synthesizer kind of bass stuff in my spare time. But
do you like synthwave?
I like quite a lot of jazz as well. I mean,
okay.
See,
seriously, I really don't have a kind of like a favorite one. I have certain kind of like piece of music that I maybe listen to more than others, but
yeah,
musician, you need to be kind of open to whatever kind of music.
Yeah,
you know, I can't turn around and say I don't like. I mean, there's some stuff that I find almost unlistenable, but it's kind of still valid.
Like
right?
Screamo.
Yeah. Oh god, it's incredibly valid because I feel like, say for example, you were like super into heavy metal and rock, like that would have a huge influence on your work.
Could you imagine?
Like, can you imagine RuneScape's music if that was the case? It wouldn't be how it is right now. Like coming out to Toro Island would be like badass.
I can say though. I will confess that I didn't actually write that many ballads and sea shanties and whatnot in my spare time before I
see.
Started writing them for real. It's not. I mean, like sea shanties are not really the kind of thing that you sort of stick on your MP3 player as a sort of standard, are they? You know.
Yeah.
Now
it's the kind of thing where you have to sort of embrace suddenly like having to write music for a game with kind of like all kinds of scenarios in it. You have to get into it.
So
exactly, you're not creating music so you can listen to it yourself. You're creating it because you want it to fit the game. Because that's your job, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So this is kind of the game that inspired RuneScape, but why does it look better graphic-wise than RuneScape?
It looks like a 2D side-scroller game.
Such a terrible thing to say.
It's
2D with 2D sprites.
Man, can you actually play the video so we can see the gameplay?
Calm your cheeks. All right, let's. You see this furnace that looks like a RuneScape furnace, RuneScape table. You can kind of see the resemblances. Oh my god.
So it's like a 2D side scroller. Is that how it looks?
That's a point and click adventure.
Look at this thick boy right here. Oh man.
Reminds me a lot of Miniclip.
This is 1990, by the way. I'm just saying. This is. Look at that. They got swirl animations. RuneScape ain't got that. That's sweet.
Oh, that's very interesting.
I used to have a Commodore Amiga, and that animation of that guy twirling around on that chandelier was so slow.
It just didn't load in.
Oh, it was painful. It was like, the animation was like, one frame every
look
5 seconds or something.
They do the head bobbling thing.
But the thing about that game is the story and the kind of humor and stuff like that, as well as the content. I mean, it was just it was just such good fun.
Yeah.
It's off, and you end up, and it's one of these classic things. You end up like, becoming a pirate, going off on some wild adventure, and meeting kind of voodoo ladies and giant monkeys and all the rest of it. And it's just this wild story. It's kind of like a little bit like, I don't know, something like The Goonies or that kind of movie.
I'm guessing 1990s
high adventure.
A little too early to have sex in video games, huh? No.
Oh no, they've had like rude video games for many years.
Even, really?
Way before then, yeah. But I mean,
so this place
really
has a
graphic,
shag scene. That's pretty. That's what I'm talking about.
No, not Monkey Island.
No,
it's a good clean fun.
Oh.
Yeah, good clean fun. That's a great selling.
Look at the little seagull eating the fish there, man.
He's slapping it with a plank. Did you see that?
It was all kind of puzzles and tactics and stuff like that. It was absolutely infuriating. I remember it took weeks and weeks to. A friend of mine was like, "How can you do this? I can't get past this bit." And
nowadays we just have guides.
It's not like you could go onto Google.
Yeah, true. Oh man, that's what made
just
like
you can't just go on a forum and like I don't understand this thing. Can you tell me it, please? I mean, you had to work it out.
Yeah, man. I think that's what made RuneScape so hard. Besides being a kid, but just the fact that like Google just wasn't prominent Oh my god, everything was like freaking mystery. Like even like I felt like Cook's system was a struggle because I was like, where do I find an egg?
Man,
yeah, it was known that it was a bit of a struggle for quite a few people.
Even when like Grand Theft Auto came out, it was like you had to buy a magazine to find the codes for the cheats.
That was exactly. I mean, I used to buy computer and video game magazine and various other Your Sinclair and Your Commodore or whatever it was. Yeah, we all used to buy. The games that you bought were kind of like all bought mail order, and you got through the post and stuff.
I miss buying those magazines because I remember back in the day I was huge into Pokemon. Every time a Pokemon game come out, I get the game and then I try to buy like the magazine for it so you can read which Pokemon there are. And that, I mean, I have one in my closet right now that gives me memories. And nowadays,
same. I have a fire red leaf green guidebook, dog.
I got like a silver version or so. Nowadays, you don't need those. It kind of takes away from the experience. If you don't have a fat
people
book
just
for
Google
it.
that shit nowadays.
Yeah, I do. Well, there's so much stuff is available digitally, isn't it? I mean, there's obviously we can't. There's only a limited amount of kind of trees in the world. You can't just everything forever.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a bit sad that the physical media thing has kind of gone. But hey, it's wasting resources at the end of the day. So
RuneScape had a book for it, didn't
it?
Isn't
it?
Like I believe
there was a guide, but yeah, there was. Yeah.
Wow. I want to own one of those.
There are some physical things. I mean, obviously, we do have a merch store and stuff. We've got
the plug-in,
albums and things.
Go buy some RuneScape merch, boys.
I like that.
That's what I'm talking about.
They recently released like a vinyl as well. They did, didn't they? Was it last RuneFest? They did that limited edition.
Yeah. I've got them sitting here in front of me. As I speak,
I should
have got a old school classics one, and
that's some fancy stuff.
Well.
Can you imagine going into somebody's house and they have a record player just listening to sea shanty, and you're just like, beautiful.
I'm gonna set the mood, baby.
I'm going to run out of that house,
dim the lights,
or run up to them and give them a big hug. One of them.
Either way.
Jeez. All right, Ian. We've had you here for an hour now. I know that you said you've got limited time. I would ask you what your Twitter is so we can shout it out, but we're definitely going to put it down below because, I mean, I'm sure I speak for all of us here. I feel like you definitely deserve more credit and recognition for the work that you've done and contributed towards RuneScape over the years. And considering you were like the first person to be employed by the Gower brothers, like you definitely need a spotlight shine on you. So we're going to put your Twitter down below. So guys, if you're not following Ian, make sure you follow him on Twitter. Because, as you guys know, his music and work's been fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
single-handedly.
Mod ENT.
Mod ENT, if you want to follow me on Twitter. But, I mean, thanks very much for the comments. I mean, that's... I know it's a kind of like an age-old moniker, but it really means a lot. It means... people kind of like appreciating what you do in life is a humbling thing, and it is it's what keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and it's like we're all kind of like very thankful. We obviously we're a company and all the rest of it, but like and as we're always doing things wrong, and stuff like that. But there's a lot of passion in our community and stuff like that, and in our company. So if it wasn't for the players, it wouldn't be worthwhile, would it? I mean, what's the point?
I mean, I'll say this from my point of view. Like, if I ever, obviously, we're all content creators for old school RuneScape, so we effectively do it for a living. We play the game all day long. And I'll tell you this, if I ever feel like kind of lost and like, my passion sort of slowly, kind of going a little bit, all I do, I go to Lumbridge, turn the music on, and just remind myself of the nostalgia, and it brings me straight back. And I'm like, this is why I love this game. And I genuinely do that. Like, I really do, just to get back into the rhythm of things and to like remember where it all began.
That's why I sometimes just occasionally just listen to a random tune of mine. I do it once every couple of weeks or so. I'll just pick a tune and just one that I can't remember how it goes, and I'll just listen to it. But thanks very much again, because it's very kind words, and it's my job. It's my job. It's kind of like I'm responsible. I like people trust me to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
it does make a genuine difference. If people like what you do. But I mean, if people hate it, then well, you know.
Yeah,
so
there's always a few bad apples,
as long as like
as
long as not everything you do is kind of like ridiculed, it's like well.
You gotta be some heartless bastards to hate RuneScape music.
There are a few. There's always a few haters out there.
Yeah, of course there is. I mean, after whatever 500-600 plus sort of pieces of music, yeah, not every one of those tracks is going to be a masterpiece, is it?
Hey, no, let's just say this then. Somebody re-uploads your music. Your first song ever made, 1,100,000 views. All right.
Yeah.
We make videos all the time, and we haven't hit that yet. So it's just
my
saying.
Stepdaughter, because ever since we've kind of had our albums out and the stuff on Spotify,
Spotify.
Want
to link that
there we go.
Some months ago, my stepdaughter went, "They've got like whatever it was, X amount of like thousands of listeners and stuff each month," and she was like, "This is insane." People don't really know. If you're not connected with the gaming anywhere, or how would you kind of know sort of how big something is?
Yeah, Ian's
it kind of goes over my head, right?
Yeah,
I don't kind of sort of take it on as like
publicity
as far as I'm concerned,
roles,
it's my job, right? And it's like I'm kind of like my reward has been able to sort of do it and have a career doing it. So
you need to flex more, man. All right, you need a shirt.
That's like really, that's the way you should do it, because that way you have unlimited motivation, right? But yeah, I mean, it's nice to occasionally shout out someone that's so pivotal to this game, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the compliment.
I'm glad you're gonna take it.
He needs a shirt. He needs a shirt that says "I made sea shanty," and he's got to wear that shit around.
Yeah,
actually,
the Godfather music.
I was literally about a fortnight ago. I was talking to someone about that. It was. I think it was one of the player visits, and I said, I think I should probably get a T-shirt that says I made sea shanty too.
Yeah.
But then again, I might get people just come up to me and either try and kiss me or punch me.
Nah, no way.
That's where you pull out your synthesizer and start playing them tunes,
I will say this: if you ever do have your own track that you drop outside of RuneScape, 100% on the album cover, it should say something relaying that you made the music for RuneScape.
From the creator of Sea Shanty.
From the creator.
Yes. Seriously, you should not miss out on that opportunity. 100%.
Easy. All you gotta do is post on Reddit. Just post on Reddit, be like, I'm the creator of Sea Shanty. Here's my new album. Check it out.
That's actually one way to get famous.
I might do that. Yeah, I might.
No, I'm serious. Like the amount of people that upvote it and guild it and do all that stuff.
The trouble is, it's getting motivated to kind of finish things outside of work.
Yeah.
As I say, it's like it's
so
good.
Yeah.
Having someone who's basically expecting you to do something and who's trusting in you and paying you to do it. I mean, it's. I'm just I can be proper lazy, outside of work.
Oh, you're talking to me.
I just want to watch I watch all sorts of videos on things like restoring arcade games and stuff like that because it's a big hobby of mine.
Wow, I don't even
I
touch
watch
on
countless videos on people just old bands just playing
a bunch of Midnight Cow videos. I feel you. Yeah.
Right. That's great. Look, before this drags out for another hour, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out of your day and for coming on the podcast.
You're very, very welcome.
Hey,
really appreciate it.
Would you be interested in the future maybe for a round 2? Because I feel like there might be a lot of people that want to ask questions about your line of work.
Absolutely. Let's just maybe a little bit. I don't know. Give it a little
leave
bit
it
of
open
time, maybe a little bit later on in the year or something.
Yeah.
That works, man.
In the winter or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's been great talking to you guys. And, thanks very much for reaching out.
I have one thing for the chat. So I know a lot of these people that watch or listen, they probably have listened to your music, back when they played. So if you guys want, in the YouTube comments, leave your top 5, favorite RuneScape soundtrack. And I mean, 90% of the time it's probably going to be Madian's music. So yeah.
It's just gonna be 5 numbers: sea shanty, sea shanty, sea shanty.
Yeah, because there's 1 and 2.
And guys, like we said, make sure you follow him on Twitter. We'll be down in the description, so go down there and make sure you drop him a follow.
As you can tell, we're really bad at outros, so thanks for having us.
That's outros.
Right, let's leave it there.